Good evening, good day, everyone, and welcome to the first edition of this documentary about this series. And our guest is here. Welcome, Ladiva. Thank you very much for honoring our invitation.
Hi, how
So,
are you?
you, thank you very much. I'm fine, and you? How are you doing?
I'm good, and you?
I'm doing well, thank you. So, today for our inaugural edition for this year, we're going to be talking on sleep and mental health. And with me to do justice to this topic is Leviva Saidu. She is a clinical psychologist and a sleep expert. So I'm very sure that we are in good hands today. If
Let's hope
just
so.
if just to do like a quick, just
I
to
can't
do a
promise you guys, but let's hope so.
quick. Okay, so just to let people know, so for throughout this year, Talking Mental with RD will be holding series of conversations on different topics with experts, and so we're starting with for the month of January, we're starting with sleep and mental health. So yes, let's get into it. So first of all, I want to ask this question: how, as a sleep expert, and I'm sure a lot of people also want to know this, how does sleep affect mental health? I mean, we hear this a lot: sleep well, sleep well, sleep well. But then, what's the relationship between sleep and mental health?
So, firstly, sleep is a basic necessity for every human being. We need sleep to function, yeah. So, I would say there's a close relationship between sleep and mental health. So, because at some point, the only time our brain gets to rest is when you're sleeping. When you get to when you're tired, one of the easiest ways to get over, the fatigue is through sleep. And most of us I know notice that we don't really function well if we actually really don't sleep. So there's a very, very close relationship. Lack of sleep affects mental health, and same thing, mental health can also affect our sleep. So it goes both ways.
Okay. Thank you very much for that introduction. And also, so okay, we've established that sleep and mental health are related in a way. Can you share with us some like sleep disorders that are kind of psychological that are related to the psychology or like affect our mental health?
So insomnia, for one, could be a reason that our mental health can get affected, and it could be vice versa, like I mentioned. Yeah, because for people who are suffering from mental disorders, you realize that, or any mental illness, you realize that these people are usually stressed out, or they need that rest. So, for instance, somebody who is going through anxiety or depression, imagine that person going days without sleeping. It's going to be very, very chaotic for that person. So, bringing us back to your question, one of the sleep disorder that can actually really affect mental health is insomnia. So, for those of us who don't have an idea what insomnia is lack of sleep. So it's not that our sleep where we would sleep few hours and then we see we're having insomnia, or we'll be pressing our phone intentionally or getting busy intentionally, you know, nightlife, all of us that are doing nightlife kind of, and would claim that we have insomnia. So when we don't have insomnia, we're just choosing not to sleep at the right time. So for insomnia, insomnia happens when you usually can't fall asleep or stay asleep. So there's also a difference, because people think at some point that it's because I can't sleep at all. No. It could also be insomnia if you're finding it difficult to stay asleep as well. There are people that can actually sleep real quick, but staying asleep, it's also an issue. So it's all part of insomnia. When you find yourself not sleeping adequately, or struggling to sleep, or struggling to stay asleep. Yeah.
Thank you very much for that. Because honestly, as someone that talks about mental health, one thing that I find, will I say, irritating is the fact that people misuse mental health disorders, and like just
A lot.
because you can't sleep for maybe you can't sleep for 2 days, and maybe
Yeah.
intentionally, like you are watching movie, you stayed up to watch movie. I'm doing insomnia, like, and you don't even know the basics, you don't know what it entails, you don't know how people really actually struggle with these things. So thank you for that. So on to my next question. From your experience, can you share like specific age groups or demographics, or maybe kind of people with a certain type of occupation that are prone to sleep-related mental health disorders?
Personally, I wouldn't say I can remember the statistics. I am sorry, people, forgive me. But I know older adults struggle with insomnia a lot. For profession, I wouldn't really particularly pick on one profession because I have never done a research about it. But if I can remember, one of the statistics, older adults do struggle with insomnia more than the average adults or teenagers or
Thank you very much for that. So, for my next question, I'm sure a lot of people too would also want to know, and probably that's why they are here. How can someone differentiate between normal sleep difficulties and signs that they're actually dealing with a serious mental health disorder? Because we just said about how insomnia is normally misused, so probably they don't know that, okay, this is what has to be in store before you know you have insomnia. So when do they know that, okay, this is not normal anymore? This is actually something serious.
So to start with here, we usually even don't understand the whole concept of sleep. For sleep, we have different set of people. There are short sleepers, people who need 46 hours, maybe 6 hours. There are medium people who actually, 7 to 8 hours, it's okay for them. And they're long sleepers where they need about 9 hours to 10 hours sleep. So sleep, it's not about how long you sleep actually. It's not about the duration of the sleep. So it's about the quality of the sleep, not the quantity of the hour. So if you're able to sleep and wake up at least 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, and you wake up all refreshed, no fatigue, you know, tiredness, it's not there, then you've achieved a qualitative sleep. It doesn't matter how many hours you slept. Sleep, it's not about the quantity of hours, it's about the quality where you wake up and feel all refreshed. You're able to concentrate, you're not tired, you're able to go about your activities. So, oftentimes, we just say, oh, I only slept for 5 hours. But did you ask if that's 5 hours when after you woke up, were you really, really refreshed? You get. So, and sometimes just because you don't sleep doesn't really mean you have any mental disorders. You might have a mental illness and not have insomnia, and you might have insomnia and not have mental illness. Because if you check in most parts of the world, sleep therapists are not even under mental health; they're physicians on their own. Yeah, so that means that sleep insomnia, it's not necessarily mental illness, and there are other sleep disorders like apnea, sleep paralysis, people that sleepwalk and stuff like that. So sleep, it's not just limited to mental disorders. So if, for instance, somebody who has anxiety and depression, there's likely a high chance for that person to experience insomnia. Why? Because these people spend most of their time overthinking, being anxious. So things like that can actually deprive you from sleeping. So if you're able to take away those anxious feelings, those negative thoughts, those sad feelings, then you realize that person would be able to fall asleep. And most times, in all honesty, it's our bad habits that deprives us from sleeping. It might not necessarily have to do with our mental health. It's just a lifestyle, especially in university, where you have friends you talk to at night because you spend the whole day going about your day. So that night period is the time where we do stuff, So that could lead, most of us, I would just say most of the youths and early adults, it's a lifestyle. So if we're able to adjust our lifestyles, then we'll be able to fix the sleep problems.
Thank you very much for that. I mean, because I think before now, I don't think I really know, but then I think I used to confuse sleep disorders with mental health disorders. But then now it's clear that sleep disorders is different from mental health disorders.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. So before we continue, I think I want to do a quick recap of what we've done so far, especially for those that are just joining. So with me here is Nebasa Idu. She's a clinical psychologist and a sleep expert, and she has been talking to us about sleep and mental health so far. She talked about how there's similarities between sleep and mental health, and how one key thing that I would say that, and I want other people to know, is about how sleep is not about the quality, it's about the quantity. It's not about the duration, and that's something we should all take on, because we are used to hearing an average human being should have so amount of so hours of sleep. And so some people that they don't have that amount of sleep, they already feel like, okay, maybe there's a problem, even if maybe they don't have any sleeping issue. So yes, it's about the quality, not the quantity. And also, from what you said, older adults are more prone to having sleep-related disorders. And yeah, and then she talked about insomnia, about how it's a very common sleep disorder that affects people. And please stop misusing the word insomnia. Insomnia has its symptoms. Insomnia has it's not just something you should say that okay you have. So yes, let's continue. Thank you. So as a sleep expert, as someone that has worked in the field of with issues that deal with sleep, what are those misconceptions that you think you've encountered, misconceptions about like sleep and mental health that you've encountered, or maybe perhaps said, or like you want to clarify? Like,
well, like we said, people will just wake up and not sleep and claim they have insomnia. A lot of times these things, how you just don't wake up and say, I have diabetes, or I have typhoid, or I have malaria. So same thing goes with mental disorders and sleep disorders as well. You have to undergo a diagnosis before you claim you have this thing. So just because you can't sleep today, tomorrow, doesn't mean you have insomnia. Insomnia has its own criteria, and you have to tick those boxes before you're being diagnosed with insomnia. So if you find yourself struggling a lot to sleep, why not meet a physician or a sleep therapist to sort that out first before you start claiming you have insomnia? And sometimes it's even not even our lifestyle. Medications can also, be side effects of some medications can also be a reason for us to experience insomnia, lack of sleep. Another thing that could also lead to lack of sleep is fatigue, stress. I don't know, but people think, sometimes when they're stressed, they just tend to sleep. But a lot of people are unable to sleep when they're stressed out. I, for one, I hardly sleep when I'm stressed out. So I find myself becoming very restless and end up not really sleeping well when I'm actually really, really stressed. So it's very common for you to be really stressed out and be unable to sleep. So sometimes it's good for you to actually notice the signs. When you're unable to sleep, then it means your body is telling you that you need to take a break and tone down the stress and just practice some self-care.
Thank you very much for that. I hope everyone is taking note of that. So yes, on to my next question. I want to talk about screen time. This is something that I think I've heard people have heard that screen time affects sleep quality. As a sleep expert, what's your opinion on this? Does screen time really affect? Some people will be like, okay, if you want to sleep well, don't stare at your phone or your laptop before you go to bed. What
Mm. So one of the things we practice when we're dealing with people with sleep disorder, it's we do treatments with CBTI. So CBTI is the cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia. We don't treat with medications as mental health practitioners or sleep therapists. So it's an aspect of sleep treatment that is not really known in Nigeria because most physicians treat with medication, but CBTI you don't treat with medication. You just do some sleep cycle education. You do some sleep hygiene, sleep titration, stuff like that. It's about 6 sessions. So when it comes to sleep hygiene is when you practice the do and don'ts regarding sleep. So blue light is known for a major element, is known as a major element that could deprive one from sleeping because this light affects our eyes. So if you're planning to go to bed at 10 p.m., then make sure by 8 screen time is done. For some people, they say they sleep well when they're watching something or anything, but majority of people are unable to sleep because of that blue light. So if you're one of them, I am guilty as well most times, but if you're one of them, then know that you're doing more harm to your sleep than trying to fix it. Yeah.
I'm also one of them, and I hope that after today, I'm going to try as much as possible to reduce like my screen time before bed. So yes,
Um,
from what you just said, it's kind of already answering my next question. But then, can you share some effective strategies for improving our sleep quality? From the experience, what are those effective strategies that people can put to use to improve their sleep quality? Because honestly, people are really dealing with sleep issues.
so one thing I would always say is, and I cannot overemphasize on that, is respect sleep. Because you see the way you disrespect it by doing anyhow for sleep. That is how it disrespects you. It is reciprocal. They say respect you, give I give you. So same thing goes with sleep. If you decide to disrespect it, I'm sure you should get to. So it's just one thing. First is keeping a sleep wake schedule. So you can't sleep at any time and expect sleep to come at any time. Our brain has a way of processing things. So let's say, for instance, now there's a signboard outside my house. Yeah. Today I come out, I read it. Tomorrow I come out, I read it. Next tomorrow I come out, I read it. It gets to a point in few days, few weeks, few months, I don't even have to look up to read it. Subconsciously, my brain tells me this is it, and I read it in my mind or in my head, because I have seen it over and over and over, and my brain has already registered the information on that billboard. So, same thing for sleep. Once it is 9 o'clock, you have a sleep wake schedule. I sleep at 9, I wake up at 6. And that's why people who do wake up for Fajr prayer, if you realize no matter how late you sleep, even without your alarm, you're able to wake up for Fajr prayer because your brain has already registered that. So for women, even if you're on your period, you find yourself waking up that particular time you're used to waking up. Even if Fajr time changes, you still find yourself before you adjust, you're still waking up that particular period. So the brain registers. Once it's 9 o'clock, you start feeling sleepy, even if you're not going to sleep, but because you've trained yourself, you've tried as much as possible to observe that sleep wake schedule. Secondly, your bedroom should be strictly for 3 things: sleep, two, sleep and sex. I'm talking about the married people. Yeah, it should be strictly for for two things: the sleep and sex. Because if you're used to doing activities on your bed, even if you go to bed, you'd realize that your brain is confused. Why? Because it's not sure, are you here to sleep or are you here to eat food or to watch a movie or to. So kindly restrict yourself from any activities in the room. Get into your room when you're ready to sleep, or the other one I mentioned. But because you're confusing the brain with having too many activities, so it's just like when you see food. Sometimes even if you're not hungry, when you see food, you start feeling hungry because the brain attributes food to hunger. So same thing, our brain attributes sleep and our room. So respect your room by keeping away all your activities away from your room. Another thing you could do to help improve your sleep is avoid eating late, avoid taking liquid, late as well. So give it at least 4-5 hours to your bedtime before you eat 4-5 hours to your bedtime. Yeah. Try as much as possible to eat healthy as well, because there is certain food that can actually affect the quality of our sleep. So for instance, caffeine. Caffeine genuinely keeps people awake. So these are things to look out for. Another thing one can do is try as much as possible to observe exercise. Exercise could help you, excrete that serotonin. So serotonin is the chemical responsible for sleeping. So I guess that's the few tips I have for sleep. Good sleep.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. Thank you. Before I ask my last question, I think I would want to recap what we've talked about so far. We've talked about how insomnia has criteria and it shouldn't be misused. And we also talked about how screen time actually affects sleep quality. The light does more harm than good, and especially when we are looking at our screen immediately, like before we go to sleep. And also, you had tips on how we should sleep better. You talked about eating late. You talked about we should only use our bed for sleeping or sex, and we should keep away other distracting activities of our bed. I mean, a lot of people do assignments, watch movies. In fact, like desks and table and chairs is not even for like the bed is the most comfortable place to do everything that we have to do. And as you said, the bed. Okay, when we're on our bed, it should be like okay, we just want to sleep, but then because we do a lot of things, so the brain is like confused about okay, what actually do you want to do?
Yeah.
So and then we have to exercise and we can eat healthy for people that caffeine does good, it affects our sleep. So on to my last question before our audience have questions. So yes, there are going to be individuals that are actually struggling with insomnia or other sleep related disorders. What advice do you have for individuals like that?
They should practice sleep hygiene. So if they're able to practice the sleep hygiene and able to keep a sleep-wake schedule and find themselves still struggling, then I suggest they see a physician regarding that or a sleep therapist.
Thank you very much for that. So our audience, if you have questions, you can ask in the question box. We're talking about
I saw one recently. Let me just... Oh yeah, someone asked if it is normal to I don't sleep for more than an hour. Is it normal? No, it's not, because sleep has 4 stages and you have to get to the third one for you to even have a proper qualitative sleep. So, and you don't achieve that third stage in the first hour of sleep. I think it's the REM. I can't remember the stages, but I know that the first stage, you're sleeping. The second stage, then you get to the third stage where you're actually dreaming. But in the first stage, you're still a bit conscious. The second stage is where you find out there are people that they're sleeping, but they can actually hear things happening around them. I for one experienced that a lot. So don't gossip about me if I'm sleeping. Just in case you're planning on doing that, don't gossip next to me while I'm sleeping, because most times I actually do hear what people are saying. So, and it's a reason why most times I don't really get sufficient sleep, because my sleep doesn't really get to stage 3 where I am, in my subconscious zone to an extent that I would actually get to dream. Then the first stage is when you're coming back gradually. So it's not normal. Can you age? Please do seek for professional help.
Before I go to this question, I think I want to talk about how I remember taking that part of sleep in my psychology course, and reading it, I was like, no, I don't think I've been having a correct sleep, because I don't think I don't even think I used to intellect. And I think I remember in uni, I think my sleep kind of got disrupted. And so now I still find it difficult to dream in. I'm so okay, I'm sleeping, but then I'm not deeply sleeping.
Questions, yeah.
So we have a question. Sometimes I sleep, but I'm aware of everything happening around me. Is that okay? I think that's what you go.
Not particularly okay, because that means you're stuck in stage 2 of sleep. So you need to practice more self-hygiene for you to be able to get to the third stage.
If sleep hygiene you talk about, I don't know. Can you explain it in a simpler form? Because I think
hygiene is where you eat early, do some exercise, go to bed early, have a sleep-wake schedule, no caffeine, no screen time, And sometimes what can help you achieve good qualitative sleep is keeping a sleep diary. So knowing that, okay, from this hour to this hour. And yeah, one thing to avoid is napping in the afternoon or morning. You see those short power naps, they are nice, but they're the reason why you don't have good qualitative sleep at night. So if you're one of them, I advise you stop, because it's disrupting your good sleep at night. And for those of you that will not sleep at night and claim I sleep all day, please let me tell you, you're not sleeping anything, because your brain does not rest during the day. 1, 2, 1 hour night sleep is equivalent to 3 hours day sleep. So if you're somebody that sleeps for an average of 6 hours or 7 hours, then you have to calculate 7 times 3, which I don't think you have that luxury to sleep. And if you are doing it, you're just doing it because your brain is not resting. So Biko, all of you that sleep during the day, or you do your night life and be calling yourselves vampires and decide to sleep all day. That is why you're always tired, you are so forgetful, you're always stressed, you're always agitated, you're always on the go like you want to beat up somebody. That forgetfulness you are doing is still lack of sleep, because your brain is not resting the way it's supposed to rest. So stop deceiving yourself by saying that you're sleeping at night, during the day, and then you're going about to do whatever it is you're doing during the night. It doesn't work like that.
I think stability will hit a lot of us, including me. Okay, I'll make it up in the morning, and then
It's usually a bad idea. Yeah.
People like me, we should stop. We should try as much as possible to be sleeping in the night. Sleep is very, very important. I mean, even though yes, I know it is important, but I think with today's session, I know to do better. I don't have to do better.
Because even the enzymes in our stomach work better when you're sleeping. We don't really work during the day. So we're just cheating ourselves, lying to ourselves.
So So yeah, for the sake of our body, both the physical and the mental health, we should sleep. We should sleep at night, not in the afternoon. Yes, we should sleep, but in the night, not in the afternoon. Everyone listening. So if you still have any question before we call it a day, you can type it in the comment section, and we are going to read it. But then before that, maybe before any question, if there's anything else you want to say, maybe something I've not asked and you want to let people know that is related to you.
Wondering, sir, I just realized that I am not online with my main account. I'm online with a different account. I don't even know how that happened because I've been wondering. I just saw when I was scrolling up, I just saw Good Chef joined, and I'm wondering who is Good Chef? I am Good Chef. And just for me to check down, and then I realized that I am not on there with my personal accounts. I apologize. I am so stressed. Like I have been on transit for the past 48 hours. So I just go in, shower, and then join this live. So my brain is not really booting well.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your time. Thank you for taking our time to actually do this for us. And I hope it's going to be very beneficial because me, it's already beneficial to me. And definitely going to work on my sleep.
To be fair, sometimes it's also a reminder for us because you realize that, oops, I'm preaching about this, but I'm not practicing it. And then you feel guilty and then you find yourself practicing these things.
So as I said earlier, do you have any last maybe anything you want to say? Maybe I didn't ask the question regarding sleep and mental health, and you want to let people know about sleep.
Is to respect it. Once you respect sleep, sleep is able to respect you as well. And another thing is we need to realize that we keep practicing self-care, but most of us don't know that sleep is actually self-care. And be kind to your body enough to let it rest, to let it sleep, to let it do it. Because if you're not refreshed, you yourself know that you hardly even get, productive. Most of the things you have on your agenda is not, you won't be able to get it done, or even if you do it, it's not going to be in a qualitative way, because you're always stressed. So yeah, respect sleep and be kind to your body. Be kind enough to allow yourself get some sleep. You need it. It's not an option, it's not a luxury. It's a necessity. So please let yourself sleep.
Thank you very much. I'm sure everyone has heard. Respect sleep. You say self-care. You're not sleeping well. You're not caring for yourself at all. So yes, respect sleep.
I just gave an example of how I am so stressed that I did not realize I was using a different account because I just guessed I got a notification and I just tapped and joined. So I really didn't even realize till now because I haven't gotten sufficient sleep in 2 days. So that's what sleep does to you. Find yourself, instead of being productive, you're being counterproductive. Especially those of you that will not sleep at night and be taking caffeine because you want to study, you want to finish the assignments, you want to finish that one. Trust me, you end up being counterproductive.
I think I would even like to say something about when I was in school, I knew that I had issues like sleeping at night and all, but then one thing I knew was that if I had exams, I must sleep. I don't do the whole till daybreak thing that I'm not going to sleep and then I'll go for the exam because I don't want to
sleep off.
I know that I can get to the exam hall and sleep off, or I might sleep maybe an hour to the exam, and by the time I wake up, maybe the exam is already over. I don't want to. So I will sleep. I will force myself to sleep rather than doing the whole. Okay, let me just maybe I will not sleep overnight and then I would go for the exam. No. So yeah, sleep is very important. If there's anything I've learned today, sleep is very important. We should respect sleep. Sleep is related to our mental health, and also I've also learned that our sleep and our brain works in a way for us to actually configure ourselves that we'll be sleeping at this time. We use our brain for us to actually know that okay, this is what when we should sleep, this is where we should sleep. It's all our brain. So yes, sleep and mental health is actually related, and all the things we've been hearing about sleep is actually true and very very valid. The our guests have told us the things we should do. We shouldn't take caffeine. We should eat healthy. We should exercise, and also we should respect sleep. Yes, respect sleep. That's to me. I think the way I'm saying it more to myself. I should really respect sleep. So yes, I think we've come to the end of today's session, and we don't have any questions. But then, does anyone still have questions in like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1? Okay, we don't have questions. But then our audience are okay. Yeah, sleep is very important. So yes, thank you very much, Leviba, for coming. I know how you must
Having
have been. So please after now, take time to rest and recover.
I need it
Recover
because I
completely.
need to resume
No,
work tomorrow.
thank you very much.
Thank
And
you. All right, you have a lovely night.
thank you for being our first guest for the year. We should
My pleasure. I'm always here.
thank you. You're a big part of the family. I mean, you've been there from day one. So yes,
I'm
thank you very
glad
much.
I
We
am.
appreciate
Anytime.
and yeah, thank you
Yeah.
very much.
Bye.
To everyone that joined, thank you very much. Thank you. The replay will be available after now, and you can also get it on YouTube. So yeah, thank you for joining. Thank you to all our guests. Thank you for engaging. Thank you for participating. Everyone that waved, I see you, and I really appreciate you. Thank you very much, and I hope that you really learned something from today's session. And so yeah, next month we're also going to be doing something like this, another topic, another guest. Can't wait to see you there, and let's call it a day. From me to you all, take care of yourself, and always remember that sleep is very important, and respect sleep. Thank you.